Let's talk about the Eagles' offense against the Saints. I want to look at all 6 of the sacks from this game, and let's play a little bit of the blame game. There's plenty of blame to go around, but who's really at fault? Was it the quarterback? Was it the offensive line? Was it the offensive game plan? Let's dive into it and look at all 6 of these sacks. The first sack comes on the first play of the game for the offense. It is going to be a play-action pass, and it's going to task Miles Sanders to come off of the edge, and he's going to have to block linebacker Caden Ellis. Now, Miles Sanders is bad in pass protection. I wouldn't dial this play up. Just run the football. Just run a regular pass. Don't task Miles Sanders to block a guy off of the edge, and yet that's what they're going to do. So at least it's not an edge rusher. At least it's a linebacker. But Sanders is going to lose this rep decisively. But let's look at the rest of the play. We're going to have a streak from our bottom receiver here. We're going to have a crosser from our slot receiver, and then at the top we're going to have another crosser and a drag. So we're going to get like a little drag route, and then we're going to get another deep crossing route here. So this is kind of the route concept. This is what we're looking at. We're trying to get a chunk play. We do have this nice safe drag route, and yet when we roll the tape, you're going to see here that off of the edge, just boom, instant win there, hands on Minshew. That's not really Minshew's fault, right? That's an extremely quick sack time. The only person that's really come out of their break at this point that contact is made is your drag, and it's covered up. There's 2 guys here. This crosser's starting to break. Like, if Minshew has just a little bit more time, you can hit this crosser and you can get a chunk play on your first play of the game. But Miles Sanders is just unable to hold up in pass protection, and Garnder Minshew is not able to escape the way that Jalen Hurts might be able to do. Now on the very next play, we're going to go empty. We motion our running back right here out. So we're in a 4-strong formation. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 receivers to the strong side. We've only got 1 to the weak side. The Eagles did this a lot in this game, and it just did not work for Minshew because he's no threat to run the ball and he processed slow. So the Saints are going to be in cover 2. We're going to have a cover 2 safety on either side of the field. And as soon as we see this safety start to go back and we know that this is a split field coverage, as soon as you know they're in zone, which it's obvious that they're in zone, right? Because there's nobody responsible for this linebacker out here. If you're in man coverage, somebody has to follow him out. This is clearly zone coverage. And Minshew has to recognize this and get to the strong side of the formation where you're flooding with routes. We've got 4 guys on this side of the formation. There's only 2 defenders out here, right? And we've got a deep defender. So it's essentially 3 on 4. Somebody's going to be open, and somebody is going to be open, but Minshew is going to miss it. And so we're going to just sort of run a streak on this side of the play. At the bottom, Sanders is just going to stay in the flat on like a little smoke screen at check down, and then you're going to get a streak from here. You're going to get a drag, and then you're going to get sort of a dig route. Now this is what we want to watch. We want to watch this safety. This turns into cover 2. This dig route is going to hold the safety to the middle of the field, and just look at the space that A.J. Brown gets at the bottom of the screen. Right here. This is open. Like, you have got to put this ball, take this boundary shot, take the whole shot here. It's wide open to A.J. Brown. It's even more wide open now, and yet he's going to roll out. Why? The protection's fine. Look at the protection at 2 seconds after the snap at the top of his drop. You can't ask for a better pocket than that. It's only 3 rushers. We've got a double team here. We've got one-on-ones here that people are winning. And yet he steps up. Right now, this ball needs to come out. It needs to be coming out to A.J. Brown. This is a big play. And instead, he's going to roll out. And he rolls and he rolls. And then he's going to slide. How are you sliding behind the line of scrimmage as a quarterback? Just toss the ball away. It's just a bad play, bad read by Garnder Minshew, and then a bad decision to slide there and take a loss instead of just tossing it out of bounds. So now we go to the second drive. After the Eagles have gone 3 and out, on 3 straight pass plays, they come out, they go run, and then on 3rd and 1, they take Miles Sanders off the field to put Kenny Gainwell on. And I don't know why they're fascinated with Kenny Gainwell in these situations, but they are. They like him in short yardage, and so they're going to sort of run this play fake or RPO. They're going to get A.J. Brown flowing across like split zone. And the idea here is that we're going to run a little pick with Devonta Smith, kind of disguised as a slant route, and we're going to run this flat route to Dallas Goedert. The Eagles love this sort of a plan on 3rd and shorts or 4th and shorts, and it's just not going to work. First of all, you're leaving Cam Jordan unblocked off of the edge. This is Cameron Jordan, Saints' best defensive lineman. You're leaving him unblocked, and you're asking Minshew to beat him, and that's just not going to happen. Like, you can't hand this ball off because he's got a free shot at the running back. He's got a free run at the mesh point, but you can't make him pay for standing up here because you can't beat him with Minshew, and then your pick just doesn't work either, and it's covered up. So, I would rather, if you want to run that slant flat, just run a compressed set. Don't run play action. It throws the timing off. When your quarterback is no threat to get outside of the pocket, you just can't leave a guy untouched like this and expect Minshew to beat him. So that's a bad call by the coaching staff. There's really nowhere for Minshew to go with the ball right there. Now let's look at this next play. Now this is going to be at the bottom of the screen here. We're going to run sort of a flat route with Sanders, and we're going to run like a deep out route with the tight end. At the top of the formation, we're going to run an in route, and then, it's going to be an in route, and then a drag route, and a slant. So we're sort of getting these 3 end breakers on the back of the formation with the slant out. So everything is moving to the left side of the field. We're not going to bounce from one side of the field to the other. Everything is coming one direction. We need to sit there and read that out. The Saints are basically going to run a cover 1 zone. This strong safety and this nickel corner are sort of bracketing A.J. Brown with a first in and a first out responsibility. If he breaks in, this guy has him. If he breaks out, this guy has him. We've got a middle of field safety, and then we're going to have a linebacker dropping off into the middle of the field. And so at the snap of the ball, we see this play out. It's a pretty good pocket, right? 2 seconds after the snap, we've got a pocket that we can step up into, but we don't really have anybody open yet. And now there's no reason. Minshew is going to take off. He gets happy feet. He starts getting crazy. Look where his feet are. He's running forward. He's not just hitching forward. If you just hitch forward here, you're fine. Your pocket is fine here. But he doesn't. He starts running. He creates his own pressure. Boom. It's a sack. What should he have done? Well, let's just come back here to the point he starts to freak out. Right about now. If he doesn't freak out, do you think he could throw this ball right here? Do you think he could put a ball right here? I mean, it's a tight window. Sure, the safety is coming down on it. This would be a tight play, but you can make that throw. You got to trust your receivers in these situations. In man coverage, the windows are not going to be large. You've got to trigger on throws. You've got a slant route breaking in right here, and there's nobody here. Just take one of these 2 throws in a tight window and let your receiver try to make a play, and instead he just feels the pocket collapsing around him. It's not, and he panics and he takes a sack. It's a bad play by Minshew. Now let's look at this one. This is going to be a bad play on the offensive line. Jack Driscoll is just going to get bulldozed back. And so let's just watch that first. Off the edge, boom, he just keeps walking backwards. You never do this as an offensive lineman. As soon as you feel yourself starting to walk, you're supposed to take a hop backwards. You give up some ground, you hop, both feet leave the ground, you stick them in the turf, you drop your hips, and you re-anchor, and he doesn't do that. He just gets walked right back into Minshew here. So this is a bad rep up front by Jack Driscoll. There wasn't a ton of these in this game, though. I thought Driscoll did a fine job overall, but let's look at the routes behind it. So at the top of the screen here, we're going to run sort of a curl route and a streak. And then at the bottom of the screen, we're going to run a curl route, and then we're going to run just sort of a in route, I guess, a dig route you could call it. We're going to try to get behind the linebacker here and see if we can get open, and then we're just going to sort of check up with our running back here. So I want you to watch what happens, especially here at the bottom of the screen, and tell me if you think Jalen Hurts makes this throw to A.J. Brown. So we hit the top of our drop. Yes, pressure's coming. We're looking this way. Brown is about to break off. You should trigger this throw right now, and we've seen Jalen Hurts make these timing throws, but look at the separation that gets created out of the break here by A.J. Brown. Look at that. If the ball's here right now, that's a catch. It's a first down. And Jalen Hurts makes that throw, even with pressure coming in. And so, yes, it's a bad rep from Driscoll, but there was a throw there to be made. And your backup quarterback just simply doesn't have the anticipation and the timing with your top receiver to make that throw. Jalen Hurts makes this throw 9 times out of 10. And then let's go to the last sack of the day. The last sack of the day, this is going to be a creative rush here. Defensive tackles coming in. Linebacker's going to loop behind. And then the defensive end's going to go upfield and then come behind. So they're running all kinds of pass rush games here. It's only a 4-man rush. Samalo and Dickerson are going to be slow to pass off these games, and so they bear some responsibility for this. They're a little slow. This is also a play-action pass, and just stop it with the play-action pass. You weren't running the ball anyways, and it wasn't working, but they're going to run a play-action pass, so you're going to get Sanders into the flat. Because of this, Dallas Goedert, I don't know what he was going to run. He gets tangled up with a blocker who just grabs onto him because it's a play fake, and so he can do that. And so Goedert never really gets into his route. It was some sort of, I don't know, he might have been running a drag. He might have just been sitting in the middle of the field. I'm not sure what was going to happen here. At the bottom of the screen, we run a streak route with A.J. Brown. And then at the top, we've got a streak route and an in route. So this is sort of the concept that we're looking at here. And again, watch the twist up front, this little 3-man weave. It's slow to pass it off. Boom. Takes a sack. But let's look at what could have happened instead. We run this play fake. You're hitting your drop right here. This is the point where he starts to feel pressure. Now, he's reading the top of the field. Sure, that's the direction he's looking. But when you're feeling pressure, you should always come back to your check down. And look at the check down here. The check down is going to leak out to the flat. Who is covering the running back here? There's nobody in the vicinity. This is a throw that you can make. Instead, he's just going to duck under. And he kind of gets out of it. He drops the football, and he's going to end up taking a sack. I thought Garnder Minshew was the biggest issue, honestly. Like, you could say it's the game plan. As long as you put the game plan and Garnder Minshew's play 1 and 2, I don't care what order you put them in, but I thought the offensive line was adequate in this game, especially starting a backup. The first contact from a defender on Minshew's sacks, and you saw this on the video, came at 6.5 to 4.04, 3.6, 3.32, and 3.52 seconds in this game. Jalen Hurts' average time to throw is 2.77 seconds. I just don't think the offensive line was particularly bad. It wasn't as bad as the sacks indicated. It comes down to coaching staff leaving Jack Driscoll on an island, calling long developing routes, not calling easy crossing things and drags and mesh to get guys open against man coverage. It comes down to Garnder Minshew's indecisiveness and his inability or lack of desire to trigger on tight window throws against man coverage. I think 95% of these problems are solved next week with Jalen Hurts under center. And to be honest, I'm not really worried about Driscoll against the Giants on Sunday.